Hello everyone, thank you so much for that kind intro, Jade. And welcome to this afternoon session. We will be talking about apps in action and getting up close with the BIG4. Now before I start talking about this afternoon's presentation, I hope you guys will indulge me as I talk about my love for music. So I grew up listening to Afro jazz and urban gospel and Roomba and a little bit of hip hop. But lately, I've developed quite a taste for classical music. So my girlfriends and I went to watch Swan Lake, the ballet, and while the performances were astounding, we were really taken by the Symphony Orchestra. The Symphony Orchestra was made up of at least 90 musicians, each musician playing a different instrument, and each instrument from one of the 4 instrument families. So there was percussion, bass, strings, and woodwind. And what I really loved about this is that each musician was an expert of their own instrument. But when they integrated their instruments together, it was absolute symphony harmony. And in the same way, Esri provides a symphony of ArcGIS applications that enable you to pick the right app at the right time for your organization. These apps are broken down into 4 application families, so apps for the field, apps for the office, and apps for the community. And they allow you to, or enable you rather, to inform, engage, and collaborate within your organization as well as your greater community. So it allows you to engage your field workers and your executives as well as your stakeholders so that they can be part of the information sharing process. ArcGIS apps enable focused workflows. Your apps for the field enable you to plan, coordinate, navigate, capture, as well as share your data. Apps for the office allow you to set up tasks and assignments and then connect with your field workers. You can also monitor the operations of your assignments with apps for the office. And finally, apps for the community or the public allow you to engage your results with the community. They also allow your community members to collaborate with your organization. Think of things like asset management. If you have a burst hydrant, you want to know about that as quickly as possible. Your community can engage in a geoform that you've set up to let you know the right location as well as the asset that needs to be fixed. Your crew then goes out after you have organized your assignments and you get real-time awareness and real-time updates. Now today I'll be looking at apps for the field. And what I really want to focus on today is integrated apps enable your mobile workforce to do more. Workforce for ArcGIS enables a dispatcher to create assignments. These assignments are then assigned to individual workers. Your workers then navigate to the assignment using Navigator for ArcGIS. Now what I really like about Navigator is that everything works offline. You take your maps offline and custom maps that you've created, and they allow or enable turn-by-turn accuracy to navigating to your assignment. They don't just take you to the address, but to the actual location of the assignment. So if your hydrant is at the back of a property, why not include a back road, and you can navigate directly to that assignment. Next, you can start to capture data using Collector for ArcGIS if you need a map-centric view. Or do away with paper-based forms and use Survey 123. So I'll take you through a workflow today to optimize field operations with ArcGIS, and it's 5 easy steps. First thing that you want to do is plan your work or assignment in your desktop application. So fire up ArcMap or ArcGIS Pro, create a map, add your features, set up your domains and subtypes, and publish this to ArcGIS Online. Then coordinate the efforts of your dispatchers as well as your mobile crew. Create a project in Workforce for ArcGIS and add your mobile workers to that project. Create assignments and tasks and assign these to your individual workers. Now when they're out in the field, use Navigator for ArcGIS to navigate to the site of the actual asset. Once you're at the site of the asset, start to capture your information. Capture new features using Collector for ArcGIS, or if you want to, you can edit and update existing features with Collector for ArcGIS, or do away with paper-based forms and use Survey 123. I'll show you a really cool trick where I'm going to integrate Survey123 into Collector for ArcGIS. And finally, back at the office, you can monitor your assignments and monitor your tasks. Your executives can actually use Operations Dashboard to see the progress of the assignments as well as the status of your workers, and to see the location of the individual assignments. So why don't you join me as I take you through a symphony of my favorite apps. This is the Workforce for ArcGIS dispatcher view. So as a dispatcher of my project, there's 3 central areas that I want to focus on. The first is the map. So the map shows the location of all of my assets. And what I'm looking at here is trees, individual trees in parks, as well as different types of parks here in Brisbane. So recently, as part of my department, we've been going out and surveying or collecting different tree features in parks. Now I can zoom in and out on the map, see the location of the parks, as well as each individual tree feature. Now I can also see the assignments that I've previously created for this project. I've created 10 assignments so far, and I can filter these based on their progress or their status, based on their due date, based on their priority, so I can prioritize workloads and contact my workforce if I need to, based on the individual assignee, so I can see how many assignments each individual worker has, and I can also sort them so that I have the most important coming up for me. So I'll sort these by highest priority. And I can see that I have an assignment due today, so I should probably get to work soon. Now there's a very easy way to create brand new assignments or tasks as a dispatcher. Use the Identify tool and then just click around a feature, and it'll give you different options for those features. By clicking on a feature, I have a Create Assignment tab. Here I pick an assignment type that I've previously set. And the location or the address is for that specific point. I don't need to add an address. I'll assign it to myself, and I'll set the priority as low. You can also set due dates, as well as times if necessary, if you're working with time-sensitive data. And what I really like about this is the Work Order ID section. Now this allows you to integrate with third-party systems. So if you have a third-party system that has a whole lot of work order IDs, just create a brand new assignment or assignment list via REST API, and then integrate this into Workforce. Then you have your work order IDs popping up automatically. I'll add a description. And I'll create this assignment. I'll just switch across to my mobile phone now, and I'll show you the view as a member of the field. Fantastic. So this is my symphony of apps that I'll be looking at today. So Workforce for ArcGIS, Navigator, Collector, and Survey123. So I'll start off in Workforce. Now here is a list of all the assignments that I've been given for this specific project. And this is the Significant Tree project. I have my high priority assignment at the top, so I'll start off with that. Now I haven't started this assignment yet, but once I start it, the dispatcher gets notification as well as an update of the status of that assignment. Now what I really like about Workforce is that I've integrated all of the necessary apps as a dispatcher in the project. So the first thing I want to do is navigate to the assignment. Now I've just emulated my location to be on Elizabeth Street, that way I can navigate to this quickly. Just a safety warning so I don't drive into anything. And I fire up Navigator for ArcGIS. Now this is completely offline and enables turn-by-turn accurate directions to the site of my actual asset. So if you have specific maps that you guys are working with, just pop them onto your mobile phone and then you're good to go. Now because Navigator for ArcGIS is integrated with Workforce for ArcGIS. Once I reach the assignment of the asset, I'll get a little pop-up that will tell me to go back to Workforce. And that means I can choose the next application as part of my Symphony. Now we've arrived at the site of the asset. And I can choose to either collect a brand new feature at the site or just survey at the site. Now what's really cool is if I go to collector, I've integrated my collector with my survey 123. So that means at that specific feature, instead of editing or adding a brand new feature, I can just survey at that feature. So if I go to survey 123, I get a great form that allows me to select the different options. So this was at Post Office Square. Today's the date. I am not John. And what's really cool about survey 123 is I get the option to send it later. So if I'm working in a disconnected environment, I can save all of my surveys, and then once I'm back in the office, I can choose to push those out at once. So I'll choose to send this later. I'll go back to collector, and then I'll go back to Workforce. Now I finished everything that I need to do. I've navigated to the assignment, I've surveyed via collector, which has pulled through all my relevant info. So I'll just add a note, and then I'll complete this. And once I'm done, I just hit the finish. Now what I've done has gone into my completed list, and that means that I only see the next assignments that I actually need to bring up or that I need to navigate to. Now I'll switch back to my laptop and I'll show you my final app, and that's Operations Dashboard. Now this is a really great tool that your executives can use to see the progress of specific projects or assignments. Now what I've done here is set up 3 really simple widgets, and what I have here is one for assignment details that allows me to see the location assignment and to zoom to it. I also have the worker status widget here, and that lets me know how many workers I have and whether they're working or not working, whether they're on break. And finally, I have a list of all the assignments for my specific project. It also links these based on the worker ID. So worker ID, myself, I know that I have 7 assignments altogether. And this is a really quick and simple and easy tool to put together so that management or administrators can see the progress of specific projects. Now just to wrap up the workflow, what we did was integrate Workforce for ArcGIS. We used Workforce to assign tasks as dispatches. We also used Workforce as part of the mobile workforce to start to access assignments. We then integrated Navigator for ArcGIS and used turn-by-turn accuracy to get us to the location of the assignment. We then used Collector for ArcGIS and Survey 123, again integrated, to capture data in the field. And finally, we monitored our assignments and worker status in Operations Dashboard. Today's solution mix is available, so Workforce, Collector, and Survey 123, as well as Operations Dashboard, are available free. So if you have existing identity or a named user as part of your organization, you can access these apps and then start to make your own projects and then start to utilize the capacity that you have. There's some really great resources if you wanted to find out how to put together a project or just read up on what's coming next and how to put together a project and information. We're also really big on using open data, and I got my data from QSpatial. We have some really great training around these applications. We have custom training as well as development and extending ArcGIS Pro with add-ins. We also have workshops for field data collection and management using ArcGIS. Visit the Esri Australia training booth or come and have a chat to any one of us if you guys want to find out some more details. Thank you all for joining me in my Symphony journey. Welcome.
We've got Ivan who will be roving around with the mic for anyone who has questions for Tar.
Just a question. Can you integrate Survey 123 with Collector without using Workforce?
Yes, you can. So what you do is you'd configure your attributes in ArcGIS Online. My colleague Celine actually showed me this the other day. So in ArcGIS Online, I'll see if I can fire it up now. Actually, what you do is configure the application, configure the attributes for it. So give me one moment. See if it's this one. While I'm just firing this up, are there any additional questions?
Is anyone using the Survey 123 for larger scale surveys, like doing road data collection or things like that, or is it more tailored to smaller scale type stuff?
We have them for big projects, for example, asset management, if you wanted to. So if you have major electric pole lines or hydrants across the city, you can use it for large scale projects if you wanted. So small scale or large scale, it really depends on the size of your individual projects. I think it's just died on me. Okay, long story short, yes, you can. What you do in ArcGIS Online is go to the attributes of the specific feature and choose to configure the attributes. And you'd add a URL for the specific form from Survey 123. And then once you've done that, it'll come up as a link in your Collector for ArcGIS once you share it as a map to Collector. And then it'll have the link that says, you type in whatever you want and add it as a hyperlink. Any additional questions?
We have a couple of more minutes for questions.
2 minutes. Yes.
Hi, I'm just wondering, is there any capability to ensure that the forms are being filled out from your Workforce app? So, navigating to site and then linking to your forms to capture the data. But is there any linkage back to your Workforce app?
Oh, is there a link back from Survey 123
Yeah.
to Workforce?
So you can't close the job, for example, without filling out the form, or just to make sure that data capture has happened. Is that possible?
Good question. I've not come across it. I know in Survey 123 you can make some specific questions mandatory to answer, but to force a link, so have you come across that? Yep, so for Survey 123, you can force to be mandatory, but to force a link to Survey 123, not that I've seen. What you can do is add a note to the actual assignment. That way when someone opens up their assignment, there's a note at the bottom that says must survey at site.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. If you think of any questions throughout the day, please feel free to come and poke me, or well, gently poke me, or just to come find me out in the Tech Hub area. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me on my symphony journey.
Thank you, Tara.